You guys not love Professor Peterson? I mean, he's the best. I can call him Professor Peterson now, but he's a great man and a great friend. Can everybody hear me okay? You good there in the back up in the top ropes? Check, baby. Raise your hand for me back there if you can hear me. Yeah, all right. Are you guys so excited to be here today? I know you got your laptops out. You're probably working on chemistry or accounting or something like that. I know how it is to be a student, but if you'll give me 45 minutes, I don't want you to take any notes because I will allow Tanner. If you guys want my presentation, I'll give it to him and I'll let him send it to all of you guys. Okay? So I want to get a couple of things out of the way. I do, as Scott said, I have two sets of twins, and my twin boys are 5. I've got twin girls that are 9, and I've got 2 single daughters, one 16 and one 14. And I started kind of entrepreneurship when I was at Rick's College back in the day. I ran for student body president, and in fact, I ran against 8 amazing guys. And after that happened, I was like, you know what? All these guys wanted to do this, so why don't I just have them be my vice presidents? And it was so amazing. Once I did that, they all became my vice presidents, all 7 of them. One ran, the parties. We started Guitars Unplugged. We started our team. It was so fun. And then from that, I'm still working with 5 of them. And Nick ran the year after I did. My current partner right now. So I'm telling you, some of the network and some of the people that you're going to meet now will be in your life forever. I mean, it's pretty awesome to think about that. And then we came here, and me and Ethan, who was my partner at the first company I started, we both partnered at Raintree. I think it's the MTC now, right? It used to be the Raintree Apartments. Like, I remember being there, and I was eating, when I was eating Lucky Charms, because I'm Irish, and I love Lucky Charms. That was my staple back in college. And I remember one morning walking out, and our whole ceiling had collapsed because of water damage, and mold was everywhere. And so I was like, oh. And they wouldn't let us eat anything. They roped off the kitchen and everything. I got to have my Lucky Charms. And I remember it was that morning, we were like, okay, what are we going to do? This was when I was a junior at BYU, and we're both taking the entrepreneur class, and he and I both sat down. We're like, all right, let's join this competition. How many of you guys are in the competition right now, an entrepreneur competition? Okay, any of you? Do you have one coming up?
Yeah, we have the Mill New Venture Challenge.
Okay.
This is the lecture series, so they come from all over campus, and some of our entrepreneurship courses are the ones where you find all those participants, yeah.
Okay.
But they should be. You guys should be. What's wrong with you guys?
Okay. Is anybody in one? All right, all right. So from today, think about ways that you can stretch yourself. You've got a ton going on. But think about ways where you can continue to challenge yourself. And I'm going to actually talk about that a little bit today. Tanner, is this the presentation here? Okay, this is good. I'll start from here. So who can tell me, what does entrepreneurship mean? What does it mean? Who can tell me? I want some participation. Put down your math homework for a minute, okay? My man back there, give me your name. Chad. What does entrepreneurship mean? Okay, a risk taker. All right? Who can spell entrepreneurship? All right, it's up there. All right? I mean, I ask a lot of people when I speak, like, just whoever can spell entrepreneurship for me the first, and it's awesome. Where does it come from? So it's risk taker. What's the etymology derivative of it? What does it mean? It's French. Okay? It means to undertake. It's not that you're an undertaker, right? You're going to, bury people and things like that, but it means that you're actually going to take risk, that you are simply going to try. That's what entrepreneurship is, that I am going to try something. I don't know if it's going to work or what's going to happen, but it simply means I am going to try. Okay, let's see here. I'm gonna watch a quick video, and I want to see. There's several people in this video. I want to see who can get all 10 of them. Okay, all right, let's play it, T-Bones. You gotta love Tanner too. This is a good man right there.
people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
Okay, that was an older Apple commercial. Here's to the crazy ones, right? The ones that see things different. So who can tell me who was on that? Anybody know? Okay, Jim Henson, what did he do? The Muppets. Who's seen the Muppets? Am I a man or a Muppet, right? It's a good movie. But you guys don't remember the Muppets like we remember the Muppets. Okay, Jim Henson. Who else was on there? Okay, who? Martin Luther King. What did he do? Okay, he took a stand for equal rights, right? Yeah, he did. Who else is on there? Who? Jerry Seinfeld. What'd Jerry do? Jerry! Huh? He's one of the highest paid. He is the highest paid comedian of all times in the history of the world. Jerry Seinfeld. How many of you guys like Seinfeld in here? And that is a classic. I'm glad actually you guys like Seinfeld. Because I was going to do Jerry. Jerry Henley's a good buddy of mine. He was here last week. That's my Jerry Seinfeld right there. Okay, who else is on there? Okay, Einstein. What did he do? He did a lot of stuff. Okay, does anybody know what's one of the key things that he did? What? Theory of? Okay, theory of relativity. So, who else knew Mr. Bob Dylan? Who's a Bob Dylan fan in here? I love Bob Dylan. Who plays guitar in here? Okay, he's a good one to listen to. Martin Luther King. So here's some of them. John Lennon. You know, Martha Graham. Muhammad Ali. Anybody Muhammad Ali fans in here? Yeah. He was awesome. I've met Muhammad Ali 3 times, and he is amazing, and he was amazing. He did pass away. A little bit of Alfred Hitchcock, Mahatma Gandhi, Jim Henson, Maria Callas, Pablo Picasso, Jerry Seinfeld. So if you think about that, they were people that actually completely stepped out of their comfort zone. And they had they thought a little bit differently. Okay, and I worked with the gentleman when we started the Hero Club with the gentleman Rob Ryan. He had sold this company for $24.3 billion to Lucent Technologies. Okay? And he was amazing at ideation and creating of like, okay, how do we think a little bit differently? So I want to ask you guys, this is a real thing, as an entrepreneur or even in life, what is more important? The idea or execution? What's more important? Okay, idea or execution? My man right here, give me your name. Neffy? Okay, say it loud. Okay, you think execution is the most important. Okay, who else? Who else agrees or disagrees? I want some debate here. Okay, this is an entrepreneur debate class. All right, up here in the black jacket, my man. What's your name?
Oh, sorry. I'm
Spencer?
Spencer. Yeah.
Okay.
I agree. That's why I can't
Okay, you agree. Execution is muy importante, right? All right, my man, clear up in the back. Give me your name. Joseph, what do you think, bro? Okay. Okay, really? Interesting. Okay, Joseph, elaborate a little bit more on that. Why do you think that? Okay. Right, you got to have a good vision, right? Of where you're going and what's going to happen. Okay, who else? Who else wants to chime in? I want to hear from you guys. Come on now. My man right here, give me your name. Bridger, I like your shirt. I've got that same one. All right, yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah.
I think it's both.
Okay.
If you execute a bad idea, nothing comes of it, and then if you don't execute a great idea, then nothing comes of it either, right? So I think we're getting that kind of both.
Okay, so you think that both are equally important? Okay, all right. Agree or disagree? Who wants to chime in? Bridger, my man, says both are very important, multidimensional, very critical to grow in a business. Up here in the hat. Give me your name. Grant, okay?
I personally think execution is most important, and I don't know if it's a good example or not, but if anybody's seen the movie The Founder,
Yep.
the brothers had an incredible idea, and they tried to expand the one successful, and it wasn't. So Ray Kroc came along who was able to actually execute grubbing capitalist.
That money grub, that's exactly right. He was a money grubbing capitalist that took his idea and ran McDonald's, and look at it now. I just had an Egg McMuffin this morning. All right, up here, my man. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, right here, one more, and then we're going to move on here.
How does it execute? Because if you execute a mediocre idea to perfection, you'll have a great business.
Okay.
If you totally execute a perfect idea, you'll be less successful.
Okay, so I had an entrepreneur tell me the other day, he's like, there's nothing worse than running as fast as you can in the wrong direction, right? There's nothing as worse having a really, really bad idea and spending a ton of money on it. That's actually called bankruptcy, right? And so and we watch friends do that, right? We watch people. So I want to be really clear, and there's tons of great books on this, and there's tons of great studies, and I won't spend any more time on it, but Bridger, let's give him a huge round of applause. He's the man right there. I mean, it really is. If you want to do really, really well, like if Ray Kroc would have actually had the ability to execute and the funds and partnered right, he would have crushed it, right? But he didn't have a big enough vision. And so these guys had both. So it is, when you're doing this, you have to have both, and you have to be really, really, really good at both, and building teams around you to have, be really, really good at it. Let's see if we can move on here. Where do I point at? Okay. So this is off just a little bit from the formatting. So this will move into that. And so when I was with Rob Ryan, I was with him for about 5 years, and he's still a really, really close friend. And he had actually sold Lucent Technologies. He had sold his company, Ascend Communications, for $24.3 billion. And he's the one that actually did a lot of training on this. And a lot of it is around strategy. You've got to be able to write things down, and you've got to be able to put your idea on paper. A lot of people just sit there and they think, I got this great idea. So one of the things that you need to do is build out a monthly and a 3-year real strategic plan of how you're going to grow your idea, and then hire on the right people, work with the right people, partner with the right people that are great at execution. I will bet you the guys that actually, like Nefe and some of the other guys that came up with execution, those are the guys you want to work with. If you have a killer idea, work with people that are fantastic at execution, right? And that way you can grow an amazing company. And so that's one of the things that you need to look at. When you're looking for people to partner with and do things with, you want to make sure you understand what your skill sets are and what they're really, really good at. I don't know if you do this in here as a strength finder test. You haven't done it. It's pretty fun. I can have Win done for it to be great, coming in, and he's able to do that. But we do a test with all of our employees and everybody. Even before we hire them, we find out what are their biggest strengths and weaknesses and have them really work towards their strengths. And we can see if people are, good at certain things, execution being one of those. And so as you look at that, it's really important. But the hardest thing as an entrepreneur and as somebody that wants to grow a business or wants to be in a business is you've got to be able to do one thing, and that's to think. A lot of people wait to be told what to do. And especially nowadays, I want one thing that I love when I'm hiring on people, and some of the interview questions that I do, is this individual able to think and be innovative and have creative ideas? So I want to ask you guys, how many of you guys want to run your own business or start your own business? Raise your hand. Okay, a large part of you. I'd say probably 70%, which is fantastic, which is awesome. How many of you want to work for an entrepreneur and work inside a company? Raise your hands. Okay. I will tell you in that as well, I talk a ton on entrepreneurship, but I actually talk a lot on entrepreneurship. The best way to always have a job and never lose a job and keep gaining money and raising money and raising your salary or whatever it may be is to be really good at coming up with ideas and being innovative. Okay? So I put this up here, and there's two different mindsets that people are always in. And you guys will, I want to teach you guys this big time, and I want you to go back to your roommates or your wives or whatever it may be, because I'm going to train you on something that I learned about 10 years ago that actually changed the way I think. Now, there's two different mindsets, possibility mindset and probability mindset. What are the difference between the two? I want some feedback. Possibility mindset, let's hit that. What is possibility mindset? Okay, back here.
Possibility mindset will be looking at all the different options and seeing what's on the table.
Okay, so looking at all the different options and seeing what's on the table in what kind of way?
Just kind of in sort of a broad, okay, this is possible, this is possible, this is possible. Whereas I think probability would be looking into those and going, okay, what's the likelihood of success?
Okay, so that's right. In probability mindset, he's going to look at what's the likelihood of success or what could go wrong, right? Possibility mindset is looking at what can go right. Most entrepreneurs look at things and they will only see the possibilities of what can go right, okay? And so there's a way to do this, and you think about this, which mindset do you think makes more money? You look at possibility or probability, in which career? Okay, what mindset? Okay, right here. So probability? Why do you say that? Okay. All right. You got some some ideas up here. What's your name?
Ralph.
Ralph. What do you talk to me?
I think the possibility mindset is you have a higher chance of making more money. Or I guess if you have a chance of making more money, but a lower chance of making that money. And then probability is 10 to 6. So most people probability is about 95.
Yep. You are right. Most of the world is actually usually in probability mindset. They're not willing to take risks. They're thinking about all of the things that can happen wrong and go wrong. How many of you know somebody in your families like that? I mean, we had a COO, and it was almost like every meeting we're just like, all right, listen, we can do this. We're actually going to open up Europe. And every time the problem is, every single sentence that he would ever start with was guys, the problem is actually going to cost us a lot of money to go over there. The problem is translating these into, other languages. The problem is currency. We're going to actually have to charge in rupees and in yen and in all these other things, and we're not set up for the merchant processing to do that yet. Well, we're like, oh my gosh, dude, if we just open up China, can you believe that? I mean, when you're 1 in a million in China, you're just like 100,000 other people. We got this. Let's do this. And so we actually ended up, it was about 2 years, and all he could see was the problems that were going to happen. And we literally were like, okay, let's listen to him, let's do this. But it was the point where we were just like, okay, listen, Doug, we love you to death, but we can't have you in our strategy meetings anymore. We will bring you in after we came up with the ideas and then look at all of the things that could go. Then we problem solve. But the problem is when you're ideating and when you're innovating, if you're in a problematic place, then it's really, really hard to have that vision. It's like throwing a wet blanket on top of everything. So do this with any family members or that my wife is really good at this. With 6 kids, there's my oldest daughter is really good at this. She's always thinking about what can go wrong. She's always in a state of fear. And we have in our house a no complaining rule. And so you can only go to my wife if you have a solution. It's okay if there's a problem, but what's the solution for it? And so that's what we started to do in all of our executive meetings. If there's an employee or if there's somebody with a really, a complaint, we say, okay, well, what would you do? And that way you teach people how to think, because it's really easy to find all the things that can go wrong. But if you actually teach people how to start thinking, then you say, okay, don't talk to me unless you come back with a solution. Okay? If they're like, my gosh, there's only half of the milk left. Who drank this all? You don't say, well, what's the solution? I mean, just try it. Try it. Your pants are always on the floor. Well, what's the solution? Well, I might need to hang these up. And then you start teaching people how to really think, and you can get out of that probability mindset. I love this. This is like, don't hang around with negative people. They have a problem for every solution. So, if you think about that, I now try to be very, very careful with who I spend my time with. And you can easily get sucked into, because misery loves company. Especially when you're starting a business or doing that, you want people that are engaged and that are awesome. And then hire on the right attorneys to be the problem solution. And even a good CFO, that's both a strategic CFO that can think of the solutions, but also can help you on the risk. So there is the right place to be problem in that probability mindset. Does that make sense? That make sense to you guys? So this one thing, I studied so much, and I wish, I'm like, okay, what do I wish I would have done? Because we did partner with some people that were always in probability mindset, and we did not grow as fast. If you guys met my partner now, Nick, he is always in possibility mindset. I mean, wouldn't you agree? He's just like, okay, well, what are we going to do? Let's do this. How much do we need? I mean, let's figure out a solution. Because if you can think of a way to do it, that's how you make a ton of money. There are ways. It's not the size of the problem. It's the size of the person that matters. And being able to think. And what's the difference between a $4 million company and a $40 million company and a $400 million company? It's the ability to problem solve. It's the ability to think differently than anybody else has ever thought about it. And yeah, it might be hard, but sometimes it actually might be an easier way. Think about what Uber did. There was a problem, and what did they do? They solved a problem. Tons of people needed work. They had cars. Taxis were horrible. What did they do? They figured out how to now solve a problem. And now they're a multi-billion-dollar company that just launched another one. So if you think about it, if you think about that, that's one thing I want you guys to do is whether you're going to do your own business or whether you're going to work for somebody else, is stay in possibility mindset as much as you can. But when you're building something and growing out, what are all the things that we can do? Be careful not to slip into probability mindset until you've thought about all of the great things that could happen. Okay? I want you guys to think about that, because if you're thinking at risk and reward at the same time, it's going to be smaller. And it might not, and actually you might only see the problems. And especially if you're around people that are doing that, then you need to just think that through. Okay. The other thing is how many of you right now feel like you know what you want to do over the next 3 years? Raise your hands high if you know what you want to do over the next 3 years. Okay, right here, Cougar Blue. What are you thinking in the next 3 years? What are some of your plans? Oh, I just want to know, man, next 3 years, just high level. Okay, starting a business, buying a house, and getting married. Okay, those next 3 years, like then you say, those are my 3 big goals. Now just reverse engineer that and figure out what are all the things that I need to do that. I mean, those are fantastic goals, right? Who else says that think they have a good 3-year game plan? Okay, give me some thoughts. Okay, so you're going to go serve our country. You're going to basic training, and you're going to do accounting, and I mean that's awesome. Thanks for doing that. That's amazing. So you think about that. This is one thing that my dad told me right before I served a mission. I served a mission in the Philippines, and I use this quote everywhere I go. My dad was a high school football coach for 29 years, and we had a big ranch. We had 300 cows and 50 horses, and we grew up just outside of Sugar City, Idaho. And my dad, he was awesome because he always kept me in possibility mindset. I mean, we literally would say family prayers, and we'd all put it in, ready, go Garns, get out and milk the cows, get out there and work. But he was so fun, but he always drove me, and he still does to this day. And one of the things, I'm going to share with you a quote that I took from him that I want you guys, I hope that it sinks in, because it did for me when I got back from the Philippines from my mission, and I'm thinking about, what am I going to do? I got home December 27th, 1995, and I'm going to school January 4th, so I just have like 6 days thinking about what I'm going to do. My friends were all starting school, and we used to, and he said this to me. He said, Randy, if you don't have your own goals, somebody else will use you for theirs. If you don't have your own goals, somebody else will use you for theirs. And I think about that in a lot of areas. And it's so true. And I think about the times where I didn't really have strong boundaries and goals and know exactly what I wanted to do. Then it was easy for me because I'm a very servant leader. But you can serve more if you know exactly your times and what you will do. And so this has been kind of my motto for the rest of my life. That's why I'm huge at even spending every single second of my day doing things that matter most and matter most for my family, and then that trickles down to what I will spend my time doing. And so I just put this in here just today because I felt like maybe this would be good for somebody in here. But I do know that it's been powerful for me as I did that. And that was when, like right then, was when my dad said, hey, Randy, set your goals and where you want to go. That day, I went to school, and Robin Bergstrom, my professor there that taught entrepreneurship, she said, Randy, I think you should run for student body president of Ricks College. And I was like, Robin, I haven't even thought about that. She's like, no, I think you should. You need to think about that and set that as one of your goals. And I was like, well, my dad just talked about goals. So and then I go home and I tell my mom about it, and she's like, yeah, I think you should. And that would not even like me to want to do that. But I think about that, and then I went in, I prayed about it, I thought about it, and I felt strongly impressed. But from that one little thing, look at the people that I met. Look at the people that I still work with. It was actually from that one critical decision that I made that day, and that I set goals, and I was like, that was hard. That was really, really hard for me to want to do that. And it was like, all right, my goal was we're getting shorts at Ricks College, we're going to be able to have mustaches and a whole bunch of other fun stuff. But we had a blast, and I share that with you guys because it'll move on to the next part of a big thing that I want to teach you guys on. And it's a process that I call being in the flow. And it's a process about stretching ourselves. How much time do we got, Tanner? Got about 20 minutes. Okay. So how many of you guys have heard the principle of being in the flow and what that means? Okay, you've heard it? Okay, who else? Okay. I'm going to teach you guys this, and I'm going to reiterate this, because this is a way to know. This was a guy, Mihail Csikszentmihalyi. He was Hungarian, and he really put his whole life to the study of what it meant to be happy. And it's not even just about being happy, it's about being productive. And I want to share this with you, and I'm going to share with you a little bit of an example here. How many mountain bikers do we have here? You guys, who loves mountain biking? Who's probably the biggest raving mountain biking fan here? Who loves it? Anybody? I know you mountain bike, okay? Has anybody done the whole enchilada? Okay? You've done the whole enchilada? Tell me about it. So you're from Moab. It's 28 miles. No. The whole enchilada. They drive you all the way up.
I've done 3 trails there. Gemini Bridges, Rock, and then another one.
Did you do Porcupine?
No, there's another one.
Okay.
Anyway, I've done 3 trails.
You've done 3 trails. Okay. It's a good workout, right? I mean, it's awesome. It's a beautiful day. You've done it? How'd you feel about it? Yeah. Okay. Oh, nice. So you were getting bucked all over the place.
Yeah, it was rough, but it was good.
Okay. And you're probably, you mean, if you're from Moab, then you know this. So I just got into mountain biking and about 3 years ago, and we went with 3 guys that were Ironmen, 3 other guys that were serious hardcore mountain bikers, and then me and another guy. Well, Jerry was with us too, Jerry Henley, and one other guy, okay? So I'm not in the best shape of my life right now. I'll be honest with you. I need to work on that a little bit. That's like one of my goals this year. I was speaking at a lot of fitness conferences, but I mean, this was 2 months ago we went there. And I'm with some guys that are freaking like chiseled and unbelievable, and I'm like, dude, I don't care. I'm going to do this. I'm in the prime of my life. I'm 42, and I'm ready to do this, fellas. Let's go. And so we start going. It's like 3 miles uphill to get up there. And we didn't go all the way to the top because it snowed that day. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, I am freaking dying. And they're like a mile ahead of me. I'm like, okay, I'm so ticked. I'm so mad. And I looked at my bike and my brakes were tight. And so literally I had my brakes on a little bit. So we catch up to them. And the next like 26 miles, or a lot of it's downhill, right? The next part of it, it's just like, dude, I mean, and just keep in mind, I'm only like in mountain biking like 2 years. And I've got a nice Santa Cruz. I'm ready to rock and roll with these guys, but they're flipping good. I mean, we're going off huge jumps. We're going off huge rocks, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, dude, I'm going to die. I'm like, and just giving it everything I got, trying to get this done. I'm like, and I'm trying to keep up with Jerry. He's right in front of me. And like the first like 3 miles, I'm like, I'm seriously going to die. I have 26 more miles of this. I'm like, and dude, I'm like flying off, and you can't go slow. What happens if you go slow? Like you're end over end. And one of the guys that was really good, I start coming up on it, and I'm hanging on. I'm like right with them. I'm like, I'm about dead. I'm already out of water. And I'm like, oh geez, this is gonna be a blast. And all of a sudden we come up on one of the guys who's the Iron Man, full on shattered elbow, broken arm, 3 broken ribs. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is freaking awesome. So I was in a state of like, I really am gonna die. This is it. There's no cell service. I gotta call my wife. And so I'm thinking to myself, all right, this is it. And so in my brain at that time, I was in probability mindset, right? So I had to switch it. I had to do it like a little thing on my bike in my brain. Okay, dude, I can do this. Something's gotta change. And, I see him, we get him hauled off, a nice guy takes him, I'll drive him down, we found a guy to take him in the pickup truck, and from that time I was like, okay, I'm doing this. So this is some of the stuff we're going down, right here. And this was right before the accident. And this is some of the scenery. You ride this place, and I was like, dude, this is it, that's me right there, a little chubby Irishman, rocking and rolling on this thing, a little Irish stump jumper. And so, but you think about that. So after that, I was like, dude, something just kicked. And me and Joe Morton, who actually owns Raysick, and another one, you know Joe, he's the dude's climbed like 3 of the 7 peaks. Amazing shape. And I'm beating him. I'm like, dude, all of a sudden, like something kicked in. I'm beating Joe. Jerry's behind me now. I'm like, okay, I got this. And so I'm keeping up with the guys. And all of a sudden, I got into what's called the flow. In my mind, all of a sudden, everything clicked. And I could actually anticipate stuff. And one of the guys said, just never lose the line. Never lose your line. And that means there's little lines that you can see where other people have been and gone. And sometimes if you get off that, you're done, right? Your goose is cooked. Like you literally could go off a cliff somewhere. And so as soon as like something flipped in my mind where I'm like, dude, I can do this. And for the next 22 miles after that, it was the funnest time of my life. Was it freaking hard? Yes. My heart was pounding. It was racing. But you know what? I was fine. I was doing like knick-knicks and Supermans and we were just rallying down this thing. And I think about that, but you think about what it means to be in the flow. And I want to hit this really quickly. Because when you're an entrepreneur and when you're in the possibility mindset, you want to grow. You think about the happiest times in your life. Was it super easy? Or did you do something great in your life? You think about that. I remember when we built our first company, we had over 900 employees. We were doing around 100 million in revenue. And you know what? It was freaking hard, and it was so fun. We were just like, we didn't even know, we didn't even, I mean, we look back at that, and I talked to Ethan the other day, and we're just like, my gosh, that was the funnest time in our life. 27, 28 years old, just going bananas and having fun. And you know what? We probably could have been a lot bigger and a lot more if I would have brought on the right people too. And I think back about some of the things that I could have done that we're doing now, okay? So I'm here as a mentor for you guys to teach you some things that I wish I would have known. And you know what? Sometimes I was in the probability mindset too much. And now if you think about this, I don't know if this tracker's working. I want you to look at this, and I'll have Tanner, if you want my slides, I'll send it to you. But this right here, you need to look at this as a dial. Okay, where am I at currently in my life? And the best place where entrepreneurs that are just killing it are in the flow. Not just entrepreneurs, but think of this spiritually, think about this physically, thinking about this professionally, think about this mentally, okay? Look at the bottom one. This is a XY axis. So low to high skills, low to high challenges. So what if your challenges are really, really high and your skills are really low? Think about me back at the whole enchilada. Were my challenges high? Yes. For me and my current skill set compared to the other guys, yeah, I sucked. It was bad. But I was in a state of anxiety and a state of worry. Do you see these two? That's where I was at the beginning, thinking like, my gosh, how in the world am I going to do this? But then I started getting a little bit better on my skills, and you get in a state of excitement, okay? That's where it's like your heart's freaking pounding. You're like, oh, okay, let's do this. I'm out of control a little bit here and doing everything in life. I'm excited, but I'm not happy because I'm not in full control yet. That's when you're like driving a car and it's like too much, or icy roads or whatever it may be. Think about that where you're at in your current state. If you have anxiety, worry, apathy, or you're just like bored, then you need to increase your skill set. Okay? You're doing that now coming to school. You're doing that now learning. But always learning to increase your skill set throughout your life, to never settle for where you're at, to always be improving, and then at the same time increasing your challenges. Where you're in the best place in your life is when you're always challenging yourself and you're always increasing your skill set at the same time. Does that make sense? Okay, so I want you guys to think about, where am I at currently today? Okay? Anybody have any thoughts on this? Any questions? I like it because you guys are thinking now. You're thinking about, okay, where am I at? And if you're in a state of boredom and relaxation, or it's just like, I'm okay, like I'm good. I'm on a beach. You know, I'm good. If you really want to drive serious happiness in your life, then start really challenge yourself. Okay? Now think about this on a spiritual level too. Are you challenging yourself spiritually? Are you challenging yourself spiritually? Are you challenging your skill sets, with your knowledge, with your ability to communicate, with your ability to like get revelation? Because I will tell you that I know for a fact there is zero separation personally and professionally and spiritually for me. And it is that way for everyone. We're here to do one thing, and that's to return home to our Heavenly Father and bring as many people as we can with us. So if we can do that through business and find ways to train and hire more people and get into a state of flow, then you can accomplish great things. And so think about this on as your skill zone. So does this make sense to you guys? Okay. So there's some great things. Okay, Scott. 5 minutes. Okay. So always be stretching yourself, because that's where you'll be in the best happiness. That's why when I did step out of my comfort zone, and when I do stuff and then I accomplish it and you do great things, that's where you're just like, freaking, that was awesome. That was amazing. I can do this in your life. So my 3 B's in life are this: to always believe, belong, and to become. And the first thing is always believe in yourself for what you can do and what you want to do. Because there's so many great things. I was going to watch another video at the beginning, but there's a video that's a 1950s race car track. It's Formula One. And they pull into the track. The guy pulls at the pit stop. And one guy gets out and starts cranking on the wheels and starts doing everything. The other guy wipes the windshield. Another guy does the gas. And it takes them forever to get that car out of it. And then they showed just right after that a Formula One race car from 2016. The car literally pulls up and he's out in like 1.5 seconds. Where before the other one took 26 seconds. When you watch those two side by side, that's like Scott said at the very beginning, like, we're old men. Like, a lot of times you will hear stuff, and I want to be really strong on this, is you will hear stuff that you guys are, Generation Z or millennials or whatever it is. You guys are freaking Formula One race cars now that are super fast and super built for super great things. And so if you continue to increase your challenges and your skill set, and don't let anybody tell you that you can't do anything, ever. Like, what makes it so somebody can do something and I can't? I always tell that myself. I was like, for some reason, I was just born that way. It's like, you know what? If he can do it, I can do it. If these guys are going to ride it, I can ride this trail. Right? And so you always need to believe. And I just want you guys to know that there's guys like us that see great things in you. And I don't know how it is in heaven or whatever, but my thoughts are, and I think about this with my own kids, is that I feel like you guys are trained way longer in that place than we were. We came down earlier. You guys had a lot more time up there in an amazing training center than I did. And so I just want you guys to know that I'm not one of those that says, okay, yeah, these guys are lazy or whatever it is, because I don't feel that way and I don't think that at all. So I know you guys are going to do great things. You believe in yourself, belong to something amazing. If you're not going to do your own entrepreneurship, belong or build something amazing. Build something that's a community. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go super far in life, build a team. I've been really, really blessed with working with my best friends. A lot of people say, don't work with friends, don't work with family. I have the exact opposite feeling. I've only ever worked with my best friends my whole entire life. I'm like, dude, I almost see them as much as my family. I'm going to work with people that I love, respect, and like. Okay? But why work with a jerk? You don't need to. It's not worth it. Okay? And then I want you guys to think about this. Become something. And I don't know if this is cut off a little bit, but this is from Clayton Christensen. How will your life be measured? Because the decisions you make about where you invest your blood, sweat, and tears, if they're not consistent with the person you want to aspire to become,